want it, you got it. You just got to believe. Believe in yourself, yeah. What's up? We back again. It's your man King A.D.S out here in the Inland Empire. Your music guy, your vlog guy. Just coming back to touch bases and spread that good feeling with everybody and keep the vibe up as we go through the journey of the wormholes and embark upon the mysteries of the stranger things and everything that we're facing in life every day in this era of the 2020s, which is strange because instinctually, I remember when it turned, the year it changed from 2019 into 2020, I literally said out loud to myself, oh, I'm not a fan of these 2020s, as if I lived through it already. Don't know what that's about, but that's how it went down. But nevertheless, here we are on another fun adventure and roller coaster ride where we never know what's going to happen next, right? We never know. So looming over the horizon, they're talking about another shutdown, because people might not have gotten what they want. So we'll be dealing with that. Small businesses are dealing with all of the slack from all of the scheming and the politics and corporate pushes and tug of wars everywhere, which is gridlocking a lot of systems and you know and it's a crazy time, you know what I'm saying? It's a crazy time, and it takes me back to an older video where I was talking about how you listen to the speech that certain politicians or certain messages that you'll get when they're broadcast to you publicly, and you hear someone say something like, we're going to turn back the hands of time, or we'd like to turn back the hands of time. To be aware of that, where that might be, depends on if you understand what that means. Sometimes if we talk about the 80s and who came up prominent in the 80s, that might be like sleazeball tactics and shutting people out and corporatizing things that are natural or organic, which seems to be the thing. But also, here's the good part, is that when you hear something like that, you can adjust mentally, physically, and spiritually as well. Take a page out of that book and maybe do the same thing in your own way, right? So you start to take the reins of things a little bit more with your skills. You don't go to that building that they have for you to do the job and get paid for it, but you do something out of the garage again until you can build something up, so on and so forth. So a lot of, even in the music industry, like the streaming, everything, movie industry, all these things have just been overdone so much that it actually ends up devaluing the system when there's so much of it and everyone's willing to undercut each other. And then technology comes in that allows corporate entities or certain influences to undercut even more. So it just devalues everything. So in order to have authentic value in something, it'll have to be done from scratch, something that's proven to work and that's quality, and that comes from you, the people, you know what I'm saying, which is also kind of a good thing. I've also expressed in this time period that we were in, even when I started my business, I knew that it wasn't necessarily the best time in our economic shift in the timeline to start a business. Nevertheless, better now to start. And mine came from survival solely. So I just want to also throw that out there, that people don't get it twisted, that I had, like, if you start thinking things like I had some magical master plan to be starting the biggest mega business or anything like that. It was solely, seriously, purely survival. And all the signs kept pointing to me evolving and doing something, and I figured it's not bad to learn, you know what I'm saying? So that's where I would come from there. Same sentiment expressed, even though it's not the best time, oh boy, where you get a crash course and learn a whole bunch of things, and once you see them, you can't unsee them. So I would say it's still not a negative, you know what I'm saying? Nevertheless, always a positive. And you will learn how to become more resourceful and get into things like assets, and so that way you can make like backdoor profits on things in a legitimate fashion, and learn some of the strategic methods that other systems have been putting into place and surviving. And you always wonder how they do the magic trick, you know what I mean? How are they still walking around and surviving? Well, there are some things, but sometimes it just gets bad and it just gets bad. You know what I'm saying? And you can't also be mad at somebody for putting their chips on the table and being courageous and getting out there. I'm always going to congratulate that. You know what I'm saying? More power to you. You know what I'm saying? I love it. I would encourage it always. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you lose some, you win some, you lose some. Like the dad said in Friday, like Witherspoon, and John Witherspoon said to Cube in Friday, you win some and you lose some. Come on, son. You know what I'm saying? So you got to put up the dukes, put down the cheap stuff, put up the dukes. You know what I'm saying? Give it that gumption. And I'm with you every step of the way. You know what I'm saying? As far as like, I'm cheering you on in the back. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're doing music, whether you're doing art, whether you're doing films, whether you trying to start a business, you're making cabinets, whatever it is, man. You know what I'm saying? I'd say no time is better than the present to get into something that you're fascinated by or want to do or try to achieve or learn. You know, I don't think that would hurt you. You know, so that's on that note. Just wanted to touch on that a little bit about the economic state and seeing how things have been shifting and everything like that, and about the turning the hands of time backwards. On another note, other stuff that's happening. I really don't talk about other people too much. You know that if you watch me from the jump or anything for a while, you know that I'm not the type of person who likes to talk about other people. I'd rather focus on other aspects or angles of things that I find interesting or useful or strange or, you know what I mean? So, or informative or something, the best way I can. You know what I mean? But the Diddy stuff, the Netflix stuff, the 50 stuff, all kinds of stuff, right? Stuff. Man, I could take it back again. I did an older video, maybe even a couple of years ago already now, but there was a panel with a group of gentlemen that I like. They talk about financial freedom and things like that, and financial literacy and education. And I really like those guys, you know what I'm saying? But they also had Diddy as a guest speaking to people at a seminar. And some of the stuff that I heard, I wouldn't necessarily agree with, you know what I mean? And I expressed those views in that video, you know what I'm saying? I think it's the difference between what's sold and what's told. And it was revolving around a Ciroc business and all kinds of different things like that. But if you want to go check that video out, definitely do. It's in my A.D.S talks playlist of all the vlogs, you know, topic vlogs and stuff like that. So go check that out. But nevertheless, yeah, I mean, fast forward, man, I said this guy was going to be a spectacle, and I'll just leave it at that. And I knew that others would be kind of in the firing range too. And man, lo and behold, things have played out. You know, you just never know. There's certain traits that people give off. You know what I'm saying? How I could pick up on it and say, I wouldn't necessarily, you know, take this. I would take this with a grain of salt. You know what I'm saying? There's always something left out from the image meeting the actions. You know what I'm saying? The actions and the image, they don't quite meet up. They'll match. Or like the speech patterns plus the actions or whatever, right? Some things just don't jive. And when you know what to look for, then you'll understand that they don't jive. And some of those things come from practical understanding of business and things like that, which I'm not saying I'm the business guru. I'm not saying that at all. Just saying that when you start to see things a little bit differently, even in music, I've dealt with professional situations, handled paperwork and agreements and things like that in the past. So it's not like I've never been to a certain extent of, you know, on a certain level, amateur, pro, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just saying I've had professional scenarios play out and know how things tend to go in a straight line. And with that speech will be somewhat more forward. You know what I'm saying? Rather than relying on image or relying on a feeling or some kind of a big hype story to push something, rather to actually guide someone with more realistic type of scenarios. You know what I'm saying? To let people know that you don't need, it depends on what you do, but not all the time do you need a fortune. You don't always need to go and get investors. You don't, you know, especially when you see somebody tell you a multi-billion-dollar story and say they did it from scratch with no one's help. That's a dead giveaway. To me, it's not like it can't happen. I'm sure it did. And, you know, no offense to anyone that's happened for, but I would say that's a bit, smells scammy, smells fishy, smells like trouty. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, so things like that. But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? Also goes back into another video that I brought up multiple times because these themes are timeless, it seems like, and I'm not the one who comes up with this stuff, but I do notice them. I make an observation, and when I make that observation and it seems to be pretty strong, I like to share that to pique the interest of others, you know what I'm saying, along with me. But it was the good, the bad, the iffy, the virtue of that, the good, the bad, the iffy, which is also another older video, which was an interesting concept that I learned about the good, the bad, the iffy. Start good, you end good. No, in other words, your actions lead through off of a good foot and keep it on a good foot. You start bad, you will end bad. So if you start good, there'll be nothing to throw at it. You can end good and pleasant. You'll stick that landing as a 10. When you start bad, you're gonna not stick that landing. It's gonna be shaky. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna start bad. It's somehow gonna end bad. Now, the thing you can't do is fool yourself at any time and think that you can build up good points if you're good and do a little bit of bad and be, or that you can do bad and get a good result from it. Those things are crossed wires and end up making strange, tragic situations. Like, in other words, it was expressed before, as if you do good and then you do bad, all the good you do could be negated. If you do bad and expect good results, you put that money or efforts into something good, it was all dirty the way you did it, then no one will want to support. It'll be abandoned by people. It will also get destroyed. And if you start iffy with anything, you will get iffy results. So if you go in half-ass, in other words, you will get half-ass all the time. And that's whether it's business, friends, people, relationships, anything, right? And also, people have convinced themselves from time to time, because you feel beat up, stepped on, or disrespected, or neglected, or forgotten, or left out, and you feel like, well, maybe this is the way to go. You might think that you see bad examples winning, but what you're seeing is a slow implosion. You're seeing the negativity slowly figure out that it can feed off of others, but then eventually they'll have nothing to feed on and feed on themselves until oblivion. And so what will happen most of the time, expressed the way it was that fear not for the people who travel on the path of bad, because eventually it will be found out, because exposure and knowledge is also the weapons against those falsehoods. So eventually what will happen is it'll be exposed and also be verified and checked by everybody, and that eventually becomes a pariah, which is, in other words, if people don't know that word, pariah is something that nobody would touch with a 10-foot pole, and it'll be well renowned. And so like that's like a skunk will have nowhere to go without leaving that stench. You know what I'm saying? And people will pick up on that and be moving elsewhere and away from those things. So that's also interesting. I just wanted to tie that together with that scenario yet again. And then also, what else? What else is out there? I don't want to take this video to take too long. You know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about the last video I did, and did a little funny, just goofy stuff, talking about Stranger Things real quick, but nothing too major. But I was thinking about the jokiness of it. I should have changed what I said. I should have said, for Mike, I should have said holes, and then for Vecna, I should have said kids, right? Like, he was creepy, you know what I'm saying? And then what was the other one I was thinking about? There was something else I was thinking of. Oh yeah. Wouldn't it be funny? This is what I was thinking. It wasn't like directly, but this is what I was thinking. Wouldn't it be funny if every time they were wiping their nose for the blood like this or like this, right? That's not what they were doing. They were smelling their fingers, right? So it's like they'd be like, "Boop, the nose is bleeding," but then you would listen real close, you hear like that, and they'd be like, "Hold up," and then they want to come shake your hand right after it. You'd be like, "Hold up, back up, man, where you putting them psychic fingers? Did you use the psychic bathroom afterwards?" But this is some goofy stuff that I was thinking about, man. I was like, man, I could have said those lines better. I should have said this. Yeah. So but let me know what you think about that, my re-edit, in the comments. You know what I'm saying? And if you're still watching this video, definitely drop it a like. Definitely come along for the ride. Subscribe. Get with me, man. You know what I'm saying? I love to connect with everybody. Also, just like I say all the time, I'm a music guy first, so check out all the music. Check out the Almighty Grind. Check out, if you like alternative and rock music and rip rock and stuff like that, check out the Almighty Grind. If you like cosmic, electronic, pop, techno, hip hop type stuff, check out Cosmic Rock Box. Check out Theta Mob, also on that vine or vein. Check out what else, man? Check out all the King A.D.S projects. You know what I'm saying? They're all going tough right now. The Immortal Carol stuff is up from Legacy Family. It's all season oriented, winter oriented type stuff, and we do it our way in a creative vein. And so we definitely always enjoy to have good company along for that. ride as well and please your eardrums with something unique and, you know what I'm saying, and fun. So it's just all about keeping that path, and also shifting out of that now back to fears again, going along with the narrative of fears, right? We're talking about it. We're talking about Stranger Things. We're talking about influences and energies that seem to have a pull or influence over other people in order to push them away from being themselves, burying themselves to be someone else in the public eye for the hopes of acceptance and gains from that acceptance, when finding that that usually leads us to falsehoods and short ropes and dead end walls, and the way always through is slow and steady at your own pace and being yourself, because it's irreplaceable, untradeable, unfadable, oh yeah, unmistakable, undeniable, oh yeah. And that's how we do it, man. So with that being said, I'm gonna get out of here. I think that was enough. I don't want to ramble on for too long, but much love. Stay positive, stay being yourself, stay original, stay awesome, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.